Courage and the boldness that you gain after speaking affirmations over yourself. The more you hear it, the more you believe that it's true.
And welcome to Premier Fitness. I'm Gene Williams, your yoga instructor, and I'm here to tell you about the benefits of yoga.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining our show. You have just tuned in to Where is the Love? I am your host. I'm Stephne Hockenhull. Joining me is my son, my co-host, Gene Williams.
Good eye, mate. Talking on to you.
How are you, son?
Doing great. How are you today, Ma?
I'm doing good. Ready to get this party started.
Let's get it started right. Let's get this party started quickly.
Okay, y'all, we are here. What we do on our show is we talk about bullying versus love. So many people don't really understand what bullying is. They think if you're mean to somebody a few times, you're bullying them, and that is not bullying. Bullying is repetitive. The same behavior over and over again towards someone else. Whether it's verbally, emotionally, mentally, physically, socially, antisocially. Yeah, there's many different types of bullying. So we talk about bullying and the different things happening in life and how bullying is. There's some type of bullying going on in a lot of things. So we started talking about emotions. Emotional intelligence last week. And so we are talking about emotions. We ended up talking about emotions. And so we're talking about emotions again today. So I forgot to, is my sound okay? Because I forgot to get my earbuds and my air conditioner just came on. Okay, so if you are here, we're asking you to share your Facebook pages if you're watching us on Facebook. If you're watching us on YouTube, we're asking you to share that as well with a few friends, family. You know, you can share the clip and they can join right in and join in on the conversation. And so,
spread it around.
Excuse me. So let's get to this. Emotions, defining emotions. Gene, you want to go ahead or you want to say something before we?
No, I'm ready. I'm ready to rock.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So as you said, we are talking about emotions. We are defining them and just kind of giving you a roadmap of how to navigate emotions. All right. So emotions are defined as a complex reaction pattern involving experiential, behavioral, and psychological elements. Emotions are how individuals deal with matters or situations they find personally significant. Emotional experiences have three components: a subjective experience, a psychological response, and a behavioral or expressive response. Excuse me. Feelings arise from an emotional experience. A feeling is the result of an emotion and may be influenced by memories, beliefs, or other patterns or factors. A lot of times in life, we process emotions by things that transpired in our past as opposed to what is transpiring currently. So emotional intelligence, going back to what we talked about before, emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize or differentiate between what is currently going on and is a trigger, or is it something from your past? that has been triggered by the current situation. So we have to be very aware and very cognizant of what is triggering us.
Yeah, and let me add to that, not about what you just said, but why are we talking about emotions, you might ask? Well, when you're being bullied by someone else, it creates emotions. Sometimes anger, sometimes frustration, sometimes guilt, sometimes shame, um, among other things. So I just wanted to add that. So, like I said earlier, we talk about different things and then we add bullying into it and how bullying is related to whatever the subject is we're talking about. So,
and we also have to recognize that, like a disease, emotions are a symptom of something. They stem from something. So in order to fully deal with the situation that caused those emotions to rise, we have to get to the root of the problem. And this is what we're helping you with today.
yes.
All right. I'm sorry.
Subjective experiences.
No, we're at the process.
Okay, you can go ahead.
All right. So the process of emotion. While there is debate about sequence, there is general agreement that emotions are made up of three parts: subjective experiences, psychological responses, and behavioral responses. Let's look at each one of these parts in more detail. So, first, subjective experiences. All emotions begin with a subjective experience, also referred to as a stimulus, or a trigger. But what does that mean? While basic emotions are expressed, while basic emotions are expressed by all individuals, regardless of culture or upbringing, the experience that produces them can be highly subjective. Subjective experiences can range from something simple as seeing a color to something as major as losing a loved one or getting married. No matter how intense the experience is, it can provoke many emotions in a single individual, and the emotions each individual feels may be different. For example, one person may feel anger and regret at the loss of a loved one, while another may experience intense sadness.
And it's a natural thing to feel emotions, no
Right.
matter what's happening in life. It's natural to feel some type of emotion. It's how do you deal with those emotions that uh, determines the outcome of what you're experiencing.
Exactly. And also, it's important to, now I'm going to say this, I'm going to make this differentiation because it's important. As a male, we are taught to not feel emotions.
Yep.
What transpires when you push down the emotions of sadness or whatever be the case? Then it comes out as rage.
Yep.
And then it's a bigger deal than it has to be. If you were to have addressed it at the root, then you wouldn't have the outbursts. People shooting people or stabbing or whatever be the case, shooting up schools. It's because they have unresolved emotions
Right.
that they have not processed. So instead of doing something constructive to properly deal with it, they do something destructive and take people's lives or their own.
Yep.
So that's why we're bringing this up today, because it's so important to have a grasp, a understanding, and intelligence about your emotions.
Very important. And your emotions are pent up. And that's why some of the things that Gene just said happen because it's pent up. And I just thought of a teapot, hearing a teapot.
Exactly.
You hear so that's what's happening inside us. It's steaming up, and so we have to deal with our emotions. And it's really sad that males are taught to, not have emotions, be a man, being a man is being able to naturally respond to things just like everybody else. It's not holding your emotions in and exploding on, a number of people because you don't know what to do with your emotions because you're told, and you definitely don't want to not be a man, it because you've been told that. So, you're thinking, well, if I express my emotions, then I'm not being a man, so I can't do that. But, eventually that teapot is gone.
Right. Well, it's like a grenade. You pull that pin out. You got 10 seconds. Tick, 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 tick. Boom, and everything around it explodes because you pulled that trigger, you pulled that pin out, and now the emotions haven't been dealt with. So now everything around it must suffer.
Right.
And as men, I love the fact that we are becoming more aware as men, as a culture, that it's okay.
Yes.
And it's natural to deal with emotions, to feel things. I mean, think about it. As an artist, you have to process your emotions. So if you have an instrument, you process it through, your instrument, or through writing, or through singing, or acting, or exercise, or whatever. There are ways that we are taught that are available, should I say, to help you process those emotions.
Right.
And we have to find those healthy things, because think about it like this: men die, like for instance, men who are married. And not just married, but men die earlier than women because we're taught to hold in things for so long. And then you wonder why men have aneurysms or heart attacks, or why amongst men suicide is so high, or homicide is so high, because they have unprocessed emotions, and then they take it out on the wrong person, or they flip out and then be like, and then regret it later. It's like, if I had just talked it out. Right. If I just journaled, if I just drove and listened to some music, or something that I know is going to relax me, or let me process what I'm going through, then I may have made a different decision. But because I wasn't taught to utilize the emotions in a positive way, now I've done something that is life altering.
Right.
And you can't go back. You can't go back now.
Yeah. And then some people wonder why people have mental health issues. Well, that kind of stuff contributes to having mental health issues. And so if you are one of those people, the mental health hotline is 988. If you can't find somebody you can trust to share your emotions with or share your feelings with, then 988, you can call that number and talk to someone, and they should be able to help you process through what you're currently experiencing, so that you can get out of that frame of mind and, get in a better, as people say, mind space, get in a better frame of mind, because you have to deal with things and not just let them go and ignore them like it doesn't exist. Things exist. And you internalize those, and then you may wonder why you end up having, why people end up having cancer or heart attacks, or, like you were saying, the different things you said, and, it internalizes in your body, your emotions and your frustrations, and I'll just say your emotions and your feelings. When you internalize it, it goes somewhere in some part of the body, and create damage to that part of the body, whether it's your organs or your blood vessels, your arteries, your veins, things. So, I mean, thus, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, so many. Say that again.
Heart disease.
Yeah. So many different things will happen as a result of you not dealing with your emotions, not expressing your emotions, and not dealing with your emotions. So,
and also our body processes stress and negative emotions or positive emotions at a cellular level. So, like, if you don't process those emotions, then your cells store that, and over time they begin to create more of what you store in them. So it's your choice what you want to store. Do you want to store something positive that's going to edify you and build you up, or you want to store something that's going to, build up and break you down? I mean, you literally have to take our gift as a creator to create our reality as we please, as opposed to, and this I was going to say earlier, there's a cliche that goes, either you deal with emotions or they will deal with you.
Yes. And that's true. That's very true. And they'll deal with you in a way that is not helpful, and like we just gave examples, you
Right.
know. So, I mean, we got a choice. We can choose what we want, you know. Yep. Open your hand and let it go, and walking away, you don't know where you're going, but you know you don't want what you currently have. So that's something I say all the time, but it's so true. So we got a choice. We got to choose. Um, and so psychological responses. Did you want to add something?
Nope.
Okay, so psychological responses. We all know how it feels to have our heart beat fast with fear. Ooh. The psychological response is the result of the autonomic nervous system's reaction to the emotion we're experiencing. The autonomic nervous system controls our involuntary bodily responses and regulates our fight or flight response. According to many psychologists, our psychological responses are likely how emotion helped us evolve and survive as humans throughout history.
Right.
Interestingly, studies have shown autonomic psychological, physiological responses are. Did I missay that?
No, you said physiological.
I thought when I just said that, I'm like, I didn't struggle with this a while ago. So did I say the right word? Okay. So physiological responses are strongest when a person's facial expressions most closely resemble the expression of the emotion they're experiencing. In other words, facial expressions play an important role in responding accordingly to an emotion in a physical sense. Ain't it something how you can look at a person and they may not even say a word, but you can tell by the look on their face about what they're experiencing?
Right.
Whether fear or happiness or anger. Yep. Yeah. So what are feelings? Jean, you want to get into that?
Yeah. So feelings refer to the perceptions of sensations that are felt in the body. There are many processes that occur in our bodies that can create sensations. Our perceptions of these sensations constitute what we now know of as feelings. Because there are processes that are going on in our bodies all the time, we can perceive those sensations all the time as well. It's important to note that there are large individual differences among people on how perceptive they are to those sensations. Some people are very perceptive, whereas some people are not. Feelings can be related to emotions. For example, we can have angry feelings and sad feelings. However, we can also feel cold, feel hot, feel tired, and feel hungry.
Okay, before you go on, I did not say before you start reading this. Now we're telling you the difference between emotions and feelings. And so Gene just read about feelings. So now he's going to read about emotions. Right. So I just wanted to add that. So now he's going to tell you about emotions.
All right. So emotions are a special class of mental phenomenon where they are reactions to events that have special meaning to us. Emotions are reactions to meaningful events, and emotional reactions include cognitive and physiological changes. These changes occur in our thinking and perceptions as well as in our physiology, all of which help prime our bodies to act in a certain way. So again, those emotions, those feelings, your body responds. So think about that. Over time, you're in a position of fear. What happens? Your body tenses up because it's ready to strike or defend. You know what I'm saying? And over time, like the body records that. So if you don't find a way to release it, then it causes disease.
Yeah.
Long term. All right. So because these changes involve cognition and physiology, they also create sensations in us that we can perceive. Since we're perceiving these emotions, these sensations all the time, we also have feelings when we're emotional. In fact, we can have unique and strong feelings when we're having an emotion. Thus, many people equate feelings with emotions. In reality, feelings are one component of emotions, along with others, and feelings go on all the time. You can have non emotional feelings, and they generally are continuous readouts of our internal state. Emotions are specific reactions to certain events that include feelings. See, there's a
Wow.
difference there. You see that? You see what I'm saying? There's a little difference there. It ain't the same thing, buddy.
They are not the same. One of these shoes is just like the other. What?
No, it ain't. That one too tight. It squeezed my feet too tight.
I think that was Sesame Street. Was it, Mark?
Yeah, one of these.
Yeah.
One of these things ain't like the other, something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's Sesame Street.
Yeah.
All right.
So you want to go or you want me to go?
I can do it.
All right.
So why do we have emotions? Emotions help us react in some situations with minimal conscious awareness. They help us freeze or flee when there's an immediate danger, to fight when there's an obstacle to our goals, or to repel spoiled, rotten, or contaminated things like spoiled milk before we ingest it. Thank God we don't go through such time-consuming risk-benefit calculations for many life or death events and situations, those that have implications for our health or safety. Those with that system survived and remain here today. Those without that system were selected out of existence by nature, survival of the fittest. If you don't adapt, you shall die. Adapt or die. Used to be one of my favorite hashtags. Like,
Yeah.
Adapt or die. Adapt or die. That's just the reality.
Yeah.
That's the reality. Life changes. Life is a constant change.
Yep.
The only thing constant in the universe is change. So
Yep.
if you cannot adapt, then you get outmoded. You get outmoded.
Yep.
You're that old vacuum cleaner over there with the long string. Now they got the wireless ones. What happened? You got outmoded, partner.
So before you go to this next part, outmoded or outdated, while you were talking about change, it reminded me, I don't know if you or Mark or any other body in the audience has read this book, Who Moved My Cheese?
Yeah.
I read that book a few times. It's time for me to read it again.
Right.
But that book is a very good book to read because, like Gene said, change happens. It's going to continue to happen throughout our lifetimes. And
Right.
we can adjust and accept, adapt, get it together and, because it's going to happen. So we have a choice, as to what we're going to do with it, how we're going to respond to it. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah. All right. We've discussed how each of the basic emotions are triggered by a universal underlying psychological theme. In the very same way, each of the basic emotions have a unique function. That is, each helps us do something fairly specific. All of these aid us ultimately in our survival. Thus, getting a handle on the function of each of the basic emotions gives us an idea of why we have each of these emotions in the first place and what roles they played in getting us here. Right.
I'll do this part.
Okay.
Okay, so now hopefully you have a better understanding of the difference between emotions and feelings. So now I'm going to share a brief list of the functions of each of the 7 basic emotions that are universally expressed. So the first emotion is anger. And so the function of anger is to fight, to remove obstacles to goals. So let me read that again because the way I just read it. Anger, fight. The function is to fight. You ready to fight somebody? I have to giggle on that because a lot of times that's what anger makes you want to do. So that's so agreeable. And then the other is it remove obstacles to goals. So you can, when you get angry, you can make a choice. What am I going to fight, or am I going to remove this obstacle and make it a goal? Make a goal to get out of this anger, this way I'm feeling. All right, so another emotion is contempt, and the function is assert one's superiority. Sounds like bullying to me, especially if it's repetitive. All right, another emotion that's universal is disgust. And so the function is to repel, repulse, eliminate contaminated, rotten objects. Another emotion is fear. The function is avoid or reduce stress of harm to self. If you want to interject anything, you can. All right, another emotion is happiness. The function is to ensure future motivation. Another emotion is sadness. The function is to call for help or recoup resources. And then the last one is surprise. That last emotion is surprise. So the function is to orient one's sense, get more information.
The antennas come up. Beep, 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 beep. What's going on? What's going on right here?
So those are the 7 basic universal emotions. So now, how many emotions are there? One of the biggest misunderstandings about the about the 7 universal facial expressions of emotion is that people think that means we only have 7 emotions. Nothing could be further from the truth. There are many more emotions. These are just the 7 basic. Yes, facial expressions of anger, contempt, disgust, fear, happiness, sadness, and surprise are universally recognized and expressed. So it doesn't matter what country you go to, the facial expressions, these 7 are the 7 basic that are you see everywhere. So you can see somebody and recognize what emotion they're feeling.
Yeah. And it's also quite common to have a cluster of emotions at the same time. I know I speak for myself. Sometimes, depending upon the situation I'm going through, I can feel anger and frustration and sadness and despair all wrapped into one.
Yeah, a wave of emotions.
Exactly. The ebbs and flows depending upon where you are at that moment. It's totally normal to have several emotions at the same time.
Yeah.
That's why it's good to have things like this to bring your awareness to the fact that it's normal to feel things and just explore them, acknowledge them, and then you can do the work to get on the other side of that.
That's true. And if you don't do the work to get on the other side of that, you're going to constantly keep recycling that same thing until you learn the lesson, because there's a lesson to learn in everything that happens in life. And so if you don't learn the lesson, you'll continue that cycle, and you might have a break in that cycle. You might not experience that again for another 5 years, but when you experience it, deal with it. And this is the place.
Yes, Lord.
I think I said this on last week's show, but I'm so excited about this because now when I see things, I don't push it away. When things are brought back to my remembrance that was hurtful, and a number of things that's happened to me like this since in the last month. So when something comes back to my remembrance and it's a bad memory, or I'll just say a bad memory or something that's hurtful, either one, I take the time to figure out what, not to figure out, but to ask the question, what am I supposed to learn from this? Because this hurts. Yes, it hurt then. It still hurts, but I don't want to experience this anymore. I want to deal with this situation. So what am I supposed to learn? And it has been so wonderful that when I ask the question, I get the answer. And then, so when I get the answer, the choice, I have a choice. I write, do I want what I currently have? Do I want this pain, this fear? Do I want this, or do I want to have something better than this? I mean, the choice is mine. And so simultaneously, once I decide, things change. And I can think about, honestly say, it's just so exciting to me. I can honestly say that when I make that choice and things happen immediately. So I might think about that same thing a couple hours later or a couple days later. And that same pain that I felt, I don't feel that no more. I just think about it and it comes back to my remembrance and I'm like, wow, I remember when this used to hurt me a lot, or when this hurt me a few days ago when I thought about it, or, I'll just say a few days ago. But now I think about it and I don't have that same emotion.
It doesn't have the same charge to it.
Does not have the power that it had.
Right.
And it's so exciting to me. I'm like, man, this is simple. You got a choice every time. Right. This is what you're feeling. This is how that thing felt when that person said or that person did. Right. But now that thing has no power no more. Right. Man, I love it. I love it. So that's just been so exciting for me because it's happened in a number of things. And so I just wanted to share that.
Yeah. And I think it's also important to let it be known that, like, the reason why you were able to grow through that is because you constantly go through the process of it comes back up, then you deal with it again. And then when you deal with it again, that power comes down a little bit more. And when it comes up again, it's like, okay, it's still there. So I press it down. So I deal with it a little more, and that takes the head off of you. You know what I'm saying? Till it gets to the point where you think back, dang, I done came. I don't even bother me no more. What happened?
The power dissipates.
Right, exactly.
Get on out of here.
Don't get. Go to the left now. Go to the left now.
I love it. It just feels so good because it took me so many years to get here. And it took one major thing for me to come all the way, and you know what it is, come all the way out of my character. Yes. I came all the way out of my character. And when that happens, then that's when I'm like, okay, wait. Mm-hmm. Now I got to get myself together because this ain't going to be a thing.
Got to take my power back.
Yeah. So, man, and that's literally what happened. And it has been so wonderful. Because people, I mean, there's only a couple people in my life that can take me, that has taken me way out of my character. Way out of my character. And the one I said, if I don't never see him again in this lifetime, it'll be too soon.
There you go. Exactly.
And I really feel that. But I mean, anyway, just had to say that because it's so good. If you deal with the situation right then and ask the question, what am I supposed to learn from this? If you focus on that question, what am I supposed to learn from this? And you get the answer, so first you're asking, what am I supposed to learn from this? Then you think about what you got in your hand. This is what I got in my hand. I don't like it. I don't want this fear being brought up again about this thing or this person or what have you. So that means I got to open my hand and let it go. And I don't know what's coming in its place, but I know I don't want this fear and this anger.
Whatever it is going to be better.
Right. So I'm just going to go blind, go. So really walking by faith. I'm saying blind, but you walk by faith to see, hey, don't wear the blinders.
I don't see nothing outside of these walls.
So you walk by faith to get to that thing that's going to make you feel better. And man, I feel on top of the world since I released that thing. But man, so that's one thing. When something takes me totally out of my character, then I'm like, hey, well, hold on, wait a minute. And then so when it's time for a change in my life, something to happen different, then I'm kind of sometimes I have to get into trouble before I change a thing. I know it's time for a change. And so this is what I mean. So like a job that I had, I kept going to that job. I was stressed. I was frustrated. I was angry with them. I was sick of them. So then I started having pain in one of my feet. So I'm standing on my feet 8 hours a day. And during that 8 hours, I just continued to have more pain. So, and then the pain lasted more. At first, it was, maybe like toward the end of the day. Then it got to where it was all day. So it just kept increasing. And I'm like, okay, I can't do this no more. So sometimes something like that has to happen. Not just, I'm just saying something more intense, I guess, has to happen in order for me to be like, okay, how we used to say, uncle,
no mas.
Right. I just said that at work today, no mas, and the lady just laughed when I said that. But yeah, so sometimes you got to end up in situations, bad situations before you look up and be like, okay, hold on, wait a minute. I've been looking down at the ground and all this stuff is happening around me and to me. And now it's time for me to look up. It's time for a change. This ain't going to be a thing. This can't continue to be a thing. So, where we were. I just got excited about what's been happening in my life.
Praise report. Praise the Lord.
Yes. Amen. No, let me stop. Amen. I'm just excited about that because I don't like when something happens and I'm all, who am I? I don't even know who the heck I am. What? Oh, man.
Like this version of me.
Huh?
I don't like this version of me.
And that's what I have to say. I don't know who this is. Stephne done left the building, and I don't know who this is, but you got to go. Stephne, you can come on back.
Get me behind me, Satan.
Right. And I sure be telling, boy, if you don't go and walk away, woo-wee. Okay, so right.
Satan, you're gonna catch these hands.
Don't try me. Try Jesus. Or you gonna catch these hands.
Catch these hands. Hallelujah. Hands, Lord.
2 piece and a biscuit. All right.
I'm sorry, we are foolish like this all the time.
Yep.
If you watch the show, you know this.
Yep. Well, he said not the biscuit.
Gotta get the biscuit. You gotta get the biscuit. That's that liver shot.
Right. So hopefully, even though we're clowning, hopefully this is making sense and y'all are getting something out of this because it's big. It's big for me. It's big for you if you try it, because change is going to happen. Bad things are going to happen. So, I mean, what you gonna do? You gonna stay there and keep taking it? Nope, not today.
You
Not
cry like a baby.
right.
Oh,
Yeah, you know what? Laughter is
it
laughter
is.
is therapeutic. I was telling the ladies at work today. I said because one lady said because there's a troublemaker at work. So she said, we were all laughing, and she said, I like this better. And I said, I love to laugh. I said, laughter is a good medicine. It's my drug. And everybody just bust out laughing. Right?
Right there in that vein.
Yes, laughter is therapeutic. When dealing with bullies or when dealing with anybody that's getting on your nerves that you want to slap up a few times. Oh, let me come back to let's
No, I'm real horrendous.
You're so silly. So where are we? Your facial expression?
Yes, facial expressions.
All right, I'm gonna let you go since I've been clowning and talking.
All right. Yes, facial expressions of anger, contempt, disgust, fear, happiness, sadness, and surprise are universally recognized and expressed. But humans have many other types of emotions as well. These could include pride, shame, guilt, embarrassment, triumph, worry, hate, love, jealousy, and the list of emotions goes on and on into infinity. This poses a dilemma. On one hand, decades of science have demonstrated that there is a special category of emotions known as basic emotions. As we have discussed previously, different scholars classify different emotions into their list of what's basic. We use universal, observable, nonverbal signals in the face as our criterion for classifying emotions as basic, which is why we believe that there are 7 basic emotions.
And so we already did a show. I'm gonna interrupt. We already did a show on nonverbal communication. So go back to our YouTube channel, either Love Misunderstood Institute or Premier Fitness 0210, and you can watch that show because your facial expressions do say a lot.
All right. Other scholars have other approaches. Basic emotions are not necessarily better, they're just different. On the other hand, a quick search of emotion words will reveal that there are hundreds of emotion related words in English. And this is true in all other emotions as well. We can relate to all those emotion lists, and they are all important to our everyday social lives. Is there a coworker that you tend to avoid, or someone that leaves you with an icky feeling after you spend time with them? Maybe you've noticed that a particular colleague makes you feel drained. Lord, them vampires, Lord. Them vampires, they done sucked all my blood out. Or you have a palpable feeling of dread. Lord. Palpable feeling of dread every time you have to interact with that certain person, or even when you hear their name.
Yeah.
It's like it vexes your spirits.
Yeah.
Lord, please, Lord, please keep them away from me. Where's the garlic? I need the garlic and the steak.
Oh, both of them.
Same time, man, same time. I don't know you. Monsters may not be real, but emotional vampires certainly are. Oh, Lord, I'm going to go back to the start just so y'all can hear that again. People back here, y'all hear this? Tap in. Okay. Got to make sure. All right. Monsters may not be real, but emotional vampires certainly are. And they can wreak havoc on your confidence, well-being, and productivity. Learn what emotional vampires are, how to spot one, both in and out of work, and how to deal with them. Oh, but no garlic needed. We promise.
That's why we were laughing, because he was getting ready. He just talked about the garlic and the cross.
I'm gonna put you on my spaghetti. All right. All right, what are emotional vampires? In mythology, a vampire is a creature that survives by feeding on the blood of another living being.
Whew.
Also called leeches. Anyway,
Yep.
or parasites. I like that one too.
Yep.
Parasitical. Never mind. They're typically a type of undead creature, so they live forever. That's a conversation right there. Why do all the bad people live to be like 155,
Yep.
and the people who got good energy die early? I just don't
Yep.
understand it.
Yep.
I don't understand it.
That is crazy. Because they live longer to torment people longer.
Yeah, and they feed themselves the torture. Yeah, I guess they're just feeding off that. They're feeding off the torture that they give to other people. I guess so.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, never mind. Another conversation.
You digress.
I digress. All right. They're typically a type of undead creature, so they live forever, but they cannot survive long in the sunlight. Chances are you won't find many of them lingering around your workplace.
Oh, Beverly, you hear him?
It wasn't me. It was the other version of me. All right. Energy vampires, on the other hand, thrive at work. That's because many of us wrap our identities around what we do for a living, which is part of this crazy society. That's another conversation.
Yeah.
We bring our whole selves to our jobs and measure our self-worth against our accomplishments. An emotional vampire feeds on what we care most about. So one thing that we have to stop doing as a society is stop defining ourselves by the jobs that we do.
Yeah.
That's just what we do to make ends meet. It's not who you are. You have a whole self outside of that job. Now, yes, do your job and do it well, but do not let your work define who you are, or you will always be miserable. Because guess what? They may send the jobs overseas somewhere and you lose your job. So what does that mean? Now you're not worthy.
Right.
So we have to change our programming about how we view ourselves in concert with the jobs that we do in our lives.
Yeah. So I want to add something about the workplace and vampires in the workplace. So I have been for Love Misunderstood Institute creating content about workplace bullying. And so there's specific types of bullies that they have in the workplace. So one is Screaming Mimi, person that that just yells all the time. And then there's a two-headed snake, which talks about you, behind your back.
Lies in your face.
Yeah, and then exactly. Or takes your ideas, and I had that a lot. Take your ideas and use them as their own. So that has happened to me too. And there's some others. There's 5 or 6 others. So in order to see those workplace bully types, you can go to my LinkedIn page, Stephne Hockenhull, or Love Misunderstood Institute. That's where I really want you to go. Love Misunderstood Institute on LinkedIn, and it is attached to my personal page, Stephne Hockenhull. You can also go to our Facebook page, Love Misunderstood Institute, and see those types of bullies. And I'll be adding the others within the next few weeks.
And then you also got to let them know about that workbook.
Yes. And so thank you, son. So I have also created, the book, and I just saw it. So I have a book. I just happen to have it right.
There you go.
Bam! So Trouble on the Inside is the name of this book. What's going on? And so you see the lady sticking her head in the door, like checking out her, her coworker. Hey, what's going on? So Trouble on the Inside, What's Going On is the name of this book. And I am authoress Stephanie Lynn. I self-published this book. So this is and it has some of my experiences in here. It also has different types of bullying in here. And there is I cannot remember the type of boss. It's like a boss lady type of bullying. It's in here too. So if you want this book, you gotta. I can't tell you no more. You gotta purchase the book.
Where you gotta go to get it?
Go to our website, lovemisunderstoodinstitute.org, www.lovemisunderstoodinstitute.org. You can purchase this book on there. I don't have my workbook right by me, but I also have a workbook on general bullying in general, and it has a lot of activities in it. No, it's not $9.99. So the book is $15, and it is $5. I signed the book and I ship it to you, so it's $5 for shipping and handling. Thank you, Mark. And so the workbook, like I said, is bullying in general, because I've talked to many people that said they never bullied or they've never been bullied. And so the workbook is for you to look at the different types of bullying, do the different activities to see if how you just responded to me about not being bullied or not being a bully. Do you? The name of that book is Bullies, A Heart Examination is Needed. So
get the stethoscope, doctor. I think they did.
So those are the two things, two books that I have on bullying. So anyway, I want you to check out and to know that there are workplace bullying types, just like bullying types in general. So that was the whole purpose of why I just said what I said about go. And look at our logo. Ain't it lovely, y'all? Yeah. Stop bullying. Stop it. Man. You're broken. You need to be delivered from your brokenness, and you need to be healed so that you can be happy, so that you can experience the emotions of happiness and joy. Just saying. Yeah.
Because again, our emotions are a choice. Every single one. Even the pain and the despair. You can either choose to stay there in that despair, or you can climb out and get yourself to a higher point. And that's what we're here for. We are giving you the tools to help you climb out of that pit.
Yes. Thank you, son, for helping me promote my book.
That's what I'm here for.
And if you are listening, I will be in Wichita, Kansas on this coming up Sunday. I will be a vendor at a suicide prevention event, family event. And so I will be there selling my books and my our inspirational jars.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited about that. And I have a speaking engagement scheduled. I just found out last night, so I didn't get to tell you.
Yeah.
Scheduled in July, and it is here. Finally, I have an in-person event in this area.
Awesome.
So I'm excited about that. And so the event that I just talked about, suicide prevention, is going to be in Wichita, Kansas this Sunday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So come get information on bullying. I'll have some information on bullying as well as the books and the jars. So come check it out. All right. So where are we?
Emotional vampires, last but not least.
What are emotional vampires? All right. So you want to do it?
That's cool.
Okay.
All right. So what are emotional vampires? An emotional vampire is someone who gaslights, manipulates, or uses other emotional controlling tactics to diminish another person. Whether they do this intentionally or not, emotional vampires often leave others feeling depressed, anxious, and insecure. They may not drink blood, but similar to their mythological counterparts, emotional vampires drain the well-being, vitality, and confidence of those around them. They suck away our energy and passion. They may not be immortal, but their criticism and psychological damage can live on. Fortunately, turning a bright light on their behaviors is a great way to keep them at bay.
So we've just shared some information with you about emotions, about feelings, and about emotional vampires, and how our feelings and our emotions differ. So hopefully this information has helped you, and this was perfect timing too. So I didn't think I had enough information, y'all, for this show, but we did. It was perfect timing. So any last words for the audience before we go?
Yeah. Again, we say this often. Become very comfortable with being aware of your emotions. Journal, talk to someone that you trust, call the 988 hotline, or whatever you have to do to bring yourself to a place of peace in the chaos, because chaos in life is a regular thing. You're going to have to deal with the chaos. So when you are cognizant of your emotions and in control of your emotions, then you live a better life, as opposed to allowing them to go chaotically and you do not address them. So then they take on a life of their own.
Yep.
And the next thing you know, you wake up next to a monster and didn't realize that's you. That's you beside you. It's your Dr. Jekyll to the Mr. Hyde. You know what I mean?
So my last words to you all, the audience, is to check your emotions. Keep your emotions in check. When you realize that you are experiencing an emotion or a feeling that you do not like or that is not acceptable to you, remember, you have a choice. You choose what you want. If what you're experiencing is not what you have created, or if you have created it and you are not happy with it, recreate. Gene, do I get a check when I check my emotions?
I mean, figuratively speaking, yes.
So keep your emotions in check. And remember, you have a choice and you can choose. So choose wisely. Keep what you got or discard it and choose something better. It's all up to you. Choose your happiness. Yeah. Go ahead.
And like Captain Planet says, the power is yours.
Yes. Yep. You have the authority to choose what you want. You have the authority to change your life by simply making a choice.
Yep.
So you decide. You and you and you and you. You and you. The power is in you, and you do and can go on a knowledge quest. It's up to you.
Self-knowledge quest. Self-knowledge quest. Yeah.
Yep. So we thank you for being a part of the show. We hope this information has helped you. We are very excited always about the tools and information that we're able to provide you to help you get over and through your horrible experiences, life experiences, whether it's just a life experience in general or a bad life experience in general, or whether it's a bullying experience. So take care. We will see you next week, same place, same time, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, Sunday. We send you away with peace. We send you peace. We send you love and joy and happiness. Take care. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.